Hello Legacy Savers, Marsh here. So today we're going to continue our ideas in this conditionals unit. We're going to look at a different kind of conditional statements that can be used. Some students prefer this over the if statements that we've been already looking at. This is what's known as a select case statement. So let's look at what they look like. Ultimately, a select case statement is a decision structure that uses the result of an expression to determine which block of code to execute. So basically just like an if statement. However, some students do prefer select case statements because it's sometimes easier to read. I know that there are students that prefer if statements, and you also got the students who prefer the select case. So it all depends on what you as a programmer lean more towards. I know I personally lean more toward the if then else if. However, I do know that some students really do prefer the select case statement. So let's take a look at the general form of the select case statement. So as you can see, it says select and then case and then the word expression. Now expression is not like a expression like we're used to in an if then else, but more of this is going to be a variable's name is what you're going to be consistently seeing. That is the variable that we want to look at and put under, let's say, a microscope so we can look at this content. And then inside of that, you're going to have cases, or what I would consider more of like, well, maybe this or maybe this. It's you asking the different things that you might want to show up. So case, and then the value that you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for 0. Maybe you're looking for a number of 5. Maybe you're looking between the numbers of 10 to 15. That would be the value you're looking for. The statements here is what will run if that is a true statement. Okay, so these are the statements that will run if that's true. Way at the end, you can have as many cases as you want. You can have 5 billion million, but I do know I have case and then this else. That is the leftover. So that's in case, what if I don't have a case for the case that shows up. I have a leftover, the catch-all. It's kind of like the else at the end of all those if-else ifs. Okay? And then we have the word end select. So it's our way of saying that we're done with the selections. Here is an example. So I got select and then the word case and then the variable that we're looking at. We are looking at the variable int score. So then they give me a case of 0 to 10, or case 0 or 10. Notice there's that comma. So if you want to just list values on these guys, you are going to be putting that you are going to put the value with a comma value, and you can put that as many times as you want. Okay, that does not matter how many times you need to list a value. Then what you also have the ability to do in this second case is this word of 2. So if you want to have a range of values, you just put the number, TO, and then the other number. So in this case, I have 20 to 25. That's going to be for the scores of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, or 25. Then I have my case else. Case else is going to take care of anything else that this guy doesn't take care of. So let's look at, let's say my score is int score. Let's say it's equal to 5 in this case. So let's look. If my 5, so what it's going to be looking for is it's saying, okay, what case falls for 5? Well, this isn't 5, right? 0 and 10 are not 5. 20 to 25, 5 doesn't fall in that. So if I would have 5, it would say right in the middle is what will display. Okay? Now, if I chose, let's say, 10 right on the nose, it would say keep scoring because that's part of this case. So keep in mind when you're reading these, sometimes these are a little bit easier to read, especially when it's more broken apart than an if then else. Okay? So important info to remember. The select case must evaluate to a built-in data type. So that means it has to be an integer or a single or something along those lines. You can have as many cases as you want, but a case else is optional. You do not have to have an else. However, it's always kind of recommended to have an else because it ultimately catches the leftovers that you might have forgotten about. And then another very important comment information is those values that we have, like that 0 and that 10 and stuff, that must match the expression type that you have for a value. So these values right here must match whatever this could be. So like I can't have case of Monday in quotation marks. That's a string. Strings can't be put into an integer. These can't be a double. These can't be 10.5, okay? So whatever you have for the variable you're putting under the microscope, those are the cases that you should be looking at. All right? Do not think through, do not try to mismatch the one you're looking at versus the cases. Now you're probably saying, well, Marsh, what if I wanted like something to display if the numbers are less than 0? Do I have to write every single number that could be less than 0? That's impossible. You're not wrong. So they made the ability to have a relational operator. What you're going to have to do is put the word is in there for your relational. And let's take a look at what that means. So I can have case is, notice this is kind of strange, they have that word is in there, and then the less than symbol 10. So that is if the case is, or the variable is less than 10. If the case is less than 25. If the case is greater than or equal to 25. Okay, so let's do some reading of this code. So let's say maybe int score gets a value of, let's say 3. So if it has a value of 3, what's going to happen is it's going to look through here and it's going to go, which case can I go to? So, well, is 3 less than 10? Well, it is, right? So what we'll display for the 3 in int scoring would be keep scoring. Okay. Let's say we have 15 now, right? So is 15 less than 10? No, right? So we're going to go to the next case. We're going to say, is 15 less than 25? Yep. So we'll display in our message box, or in our message label, excuse me, we'll display doing good. Now the other one that possibly might show up, let's say I have a 27. So they're going to say, is int score less than 10? Nope, it's 27. Is 27 less than 25? Nope, but 27 is greater than 25, so what we will display on that point is new high score. Now theoretically, this program could be written as an if then else if statement. It all depends on which one makes more sense to you. The only limitation, I would say, with a select case is variables. I can't put a variable here instead of a number. That's the only limitation that a select case I find has. However, for a lot of students, this is easier to read and easier to work with than the if then else statements. But that is the end of this video. Please remember to turn in your digital note sheet into Classroom when you are finished. And I hope to see you soon, Sabers. See you later.